everyone, it's DarkFairy07. I just trophied with this 5-color Omnath BREW playing Overlord with the Balemurk, and Overlord is one of the best grindy cards in a format right now, and I think because of that it is a great fit in Omnath strategy. And this deck is also a Green Sun Zenith deck, so it plays a lot of one-offs. Overlord helps find them, some very important pieces in the main and in the sideboard. Also, Phlage it's really strong with Overlord, and sometimes you mill 4, sorry, bring back to your hand something like Omnath, and also put Phlage in the yard. That's like really strong. A lot of creatures in the deck, 25 plus 3 Planeswalkers, which means plenty of targets for Overlord ability, some more creatures, more good hits in the sideboard. And okay, so we have some hate in the main, Collector Ouphe, but after playing this first league with it, that was a trophy league, I decided that it's probably not worth it at the moment to play Ouphe main. I would replace it with another land, put Ouphe in the sideboard, probably bring in like something like a stomping ground. So I think this would be my starting 75 at the moment. I would remove something from the sideboard, a lot of options. Okay, so depending on your meta and how the meta on MTGO develops after the new edition hits. Okay, so I really like this version. It's very grindy. It wins against a lot of decks easily. I think it's great against Orzo. I think it's great against Energy and a lot of other decks in the format that are good, like maybe Sunwise Combo and Domain Zoo. I think it's still pretty bad against Eldrazi, but probably can win there and can be further tweaked to win against Eldrazi more, but that is definitely among harder matchups for a deck. Okay, so that is it. Before we go to the gameplay, let's just check out the sideboard cards. We have a 4 Consign against Eldrazi. It is the best card against them, but maybe more hate for Eldrazi could be added since it's one of the worst matchups and it will be very represented. But the deck is also good against a lot of other meta decks, and actually great now with the breach gone. It's great with basically rest of the field. So I think and it has a good hate cards because of the Green Sun Zenith. You could even include more of them. And now we got a lot of energy hate here, which is maybe not that important, could be replaced with more Eldrazi hate, but a lot of very, obviously it's a 5-color deck and a lot of useful hate cards here on the sideboard. Boseiju could also work well against Eldrazi lands, but I think that maybe there are some other cards that could be better in that matchup. Maybe Land Destruction, Obsidian Charmhouse. Deck has some ramps, so you could play Obsidian Charmhouse pretty early. And okay, so there's that. I would definitely go for Ouphe sideboard, that is definite. And the rest of the deck works out very well, as I said, very grindy, and has some ramp, 8 ramp spells, which can help you win faster against some matchups where needed. Just hard casting Omnath and Overlord can be a good clock, and doing it earlier. Also Ketramos here, no Relic of Progenitus in this deck, but we got Solitude, we got Binding, we got Scavenging Ooze and Key-Dye Curator, and you will be really impressed how good these cards work with Ketramos. Can really draw a lot of cards in the mid game and late game. And Ketramos is just good on its own in this deck. I play just 2 because I'm not heavily invested on it, but it often can attack in this deck and has some synergy definitely. Also, Omnath gains you a lot of life to be able to do the Ketramos abilities. Also, there's a Scavenging Ooze with a great synergy with Ketramos, and obviously Phlage also. So Phlage plus Overlord makes mana base difficult, but it's definitely doable. So definitely playable mana base, but I'm also considering some changes still. Okay, so Molt Tender was a card I considered including, but with a slight uptick of Bowmaster in Dimir and the Hollow One, I decided to stick with Halflings plus Zenith on Dryad Arbor. Molt Tender would be sweet because of its great interaction with Ketramos, and also Overlord helps fill the yard, but it would be sweet addition, but there is just not enough room for everything. Okay, in the sideboard we got some sweepers, Pyroclasm, Wrath of the Skies, Elesh Norn, additional hate, mainly for Orzhov deck, Consigned to Memories of course, Ouphe, Force, and Knight of Autumn plus Boseiju against artifacts, enchantments, Boseiju also like a land hate, 2 more Endurance, we also got 3 graveyard hate pieces in the main, so that is it. Before we go to the gameplay, I didn't record all the matches, I record 4 of them. Sometimes I just forget to click record before doing this, and I can't do the replays at the moment. Can be used on MTGO, which prevented me from doing a lot of videos lately. I had saved in replays, couldn't do them, that is why I had this pause here. So before we go to the gameplay, I want to remind you of my dictionary profile. Recently added Obosh Ketramos sideboard guide from my last video. If I wasn't able to, I lost the leagues in the due to the no access to replays, but I had 5 trophies in a row with Obosh Ketramos. One of the craziest runs I had recently probably in the last year. And it was such a great run. I decided to do a sideboard guide, and it's live on my dictionary, and I will also try to do the more extensive guide with a lot of thoughts on the deck in the next month. Of course, when I have time due to brewing of new edition and all that stuff. Okay, so we can now go to the gameplay and see how it went. Okay, so I recorded some of the games and not all of them. We are going to go through them and see how they went. Okay, so first game I played against against a deck you don't see much, and it was Boggles. Okay, I surveil Omnath to the yard. I find another green fetch on the top. It's good. Lets me cast Wrenn 6 here on curve. My opponent will be forced to attack Wrenn 6, which will save me some life. My hand is decent. There is a Phlage here. Solitude, Leyline Binding help me deal with their enchantments and enchant creatures, of course. I also have prismatic endings. Here opponent plays core spirit dancer, which works great with my Phlage. I can just Phlage on curve, kill their core. Okay, I go for a mountain here, gain 3. I'm in a great situation. My opponent still has to attack my Wrenn 6. I mean, they don't have to, but they probably will. And so I'm gaining a lot of life here, plus the Phlage life gain worked out great for me. Okay, so I have Leyline Binding to remove the dangerous enchant creatures. Hyena, 2 Hyenas, Umbras, that is totally fine by me. Opponent goes attack again, Wrenn 6, and this gives me enough time to be able to stabilize. No great plays for me at the moment, but I was able to uptick Wrenn 6, forcing my opponent to again attack my Wrenn 6, play the Ketramos, and next turn I can start jamming my Solitudes. Solitudes can kill their creatures, but can attack with the lifelink, which is definitely can be useful. And with Ketramos, depending what they play, I can even try to gain some life. Okay, I shock in the Godless Shrine here. I shock in the Godless Shrine, pass the turn, opponent goes attack me for 7 with trample. My Ketramos can't block, and end of turn I just hardcast the Solitude. I need to start attacking, gaining some life. Okay, so I can't target their creatures. I can target mine though if I need to gain some life, and I can even like draw a card with Ketramos, gain 4. But yeah, I'm just trying to just trying to start attacking with Solitudes and try gaining a lot of life that way. No enchant creatures on opponent's side worth actually removing with binding, but I will leave mana to potentially use Leyline Binding if needed and hardcast another Solitude. So I pass the turn here, opponent just goes for another Umbra. Their Bogle is now 8-4. I can, I'm okay with that. Um, I can go down on 2, fetch down on 1, play another Solitude, and look for more stuff. Hopefully play this Phlage from the yard as well. Opponent goes for another Scout. That is not a big problem. I just have to gain enough here to not die. Next turn. Okay, I go down on 1, I go for a Surveil. I have mana now to cast a Phlage, a lot of cards in the graveyard, only missing one. So if I hit another fetch, I could go for go for a Phlage at this point. Okay, so I have some options. First, I go for attack, gain 6, go up on 7, and now I can also have a Ketramos as a blocker. Not really, but I'm close to it. Okay, so I can potentially try to do it, but yeah, at first I just decide to shock in. I want to have enough mana. I need another white to use the Leyline Binding. So I lose shock in, lose 2, and again, lose 1 from Ketramos' ability, draw a card here, put my opponent down on 2, and now I can also hardcast the Endurance and pitchcast the Solitude to gain life, so I'm okay with this. I can't target them, so I just target the Ketramos to draw a card. Opponent attacks with Bogle. They didn't really enchant anything before attack, so I'm good here. They have first strike. I want to cast my Endurance, just chump their Bogle and kill them on the swing back. Okay, so again, I just chump with Endurance again, go down on 2, and I'm perfectly fine with this. So for starters, I go for Leyline Binding, taking their Audacity. And I also have Vranin 6 here, so I go for attack with everything. And they go for Dryad Arbor to block here. And then I go Solitude their Dryad Arbor, clear their blocker. Now they have to block with both of their creatures. And I'm gaining a significant amount of life here. And now my Ketramos can block as well. That is great. But still, if they draw a card that can potentially... I'm missing 1 damage here to finish them off with Vranin 6. But if they draw an enchant creature that gives them flying, then I can still lose here. My opponent only 2 cards in hand, and they concede, so I get the win here. I bring in the Force of Figure, Boseijus, Knight of Autumns, and Wrath of the Skies, Pyroclasm. Also pretty good when often they in situation when they put some enchant creatures on their stuff, but it's still 2 toughness, so I can still clear the board with Pyroclasm. Okay, so a lot of cards I want to bring in, or Collector Ouphe not doing much. Unfortunately, also I was not able to. I forgot to record match 1, so we are starting the league from match 2 here. Okay, so I decide to leave 3 Omnath, 3 Overlord, 3 Solitude for this matchup, and let's try game 2. I keep 2 Force of Figures. Force of Figures can be pretty good against them, killing the enchant creature stuff. Very effective, leaving them with just a 1/1 attacker. Leyline Binding, good as well. Good as well in that manner. Clearing the important enchant creatures can be very good. Okay, so I start with a Surveil. Prismatic Ending, a good card here, but I think I need more lands, so I just graveyard the ending. They go for Audacity Rancor, and if I force a figure those two, then Audacity they draw a card from Audacity and Rancor comes back to their hand, so there is just no point in doing so. My opponent attacks me for 5. I go for Green Sun Zenith, find the Dryad Arbor, and go for another Surveil, leave Wooded Foothills on top. Okay, my opponent goes for Daybreak Coronet and attacks me. So now I think it's a good to use the Force Figure and give them a card to kill Audacity and block the Slippery Bogle here and trade with their they have another Bogle on the field, but I think that's it's still good here to trade with the Bogle with Dryad Arbor, of course. Okay, so I also have Leyline Bindings here. I know I have a land on top, so now I can go for the Overlord. I have Dryad Arbor in my graveyard, so I can always just bring that back if no other targets. But I find a Halfling, and the Halfling is actually better here. I can cast it immediately, and Halfling can also potentially trade with one of their Bogles, depending what enchantments do they have in their hand. They go for Rancor, attack here. It's just a no-brainer trade for me in this situation. I'm not sure why my opponent decided to go for it, but they probably had another Bogle in hand. Okay, there it is. Dryad Arbor plus another Bogle goes to play another Rancor. And again, the lighter Halfling making really problems for my opponent in this game. I think it was better to just block a Bogle here. But I decided to go block a Dryad Arbor and binding their Rancor. Okay, so 1 damage goes through and I just play the Ketramos here. I still have 2 mana for binding on their turn, and my opponent goes for Eternal Armor. So their Bogle is 2/2 now, but I block first, then take mana, and okay, so that's it. Let's go now check match 2. Okay, so match 2, I didn't start from turn 1, but this is turn 2 game 1. Turn 1 opponent went Thoughtseize, discarded my Overlord, and I went Zenith to find the Dryad Arbor. Okay, so we are just at the start of the match 2. This is turn 2 from opponent. They go for Emperor of the Bones, taking the Overlord of the Balemurk, and luckily I find a Prismatic Ending here, which was a great draw. Okay. So, great draw, and if opponent went for Overlord or the Balemurk there, bring it back, it would potentially be a problem and a lot of damage for me. So luckily I had this thing there. So yeah, they go for a Surveil on their turn and just pass the turn, so giving me a time here to do stuff. I can go for Omnath cast, I can go for Zenith, I can go for Ketramos at the moment. I think going for Omnath makes most sense here. So I draw a card and with Omnath, but opponent has Solitude, Ephemerate, exiles my Dryad Arbor, exiles my Omnath, and passes a turn. But at this point they only have 1 card in their hand, and it's a good situation for me here. I can go fetch Overgrown Tomb, play Endurance, try to block their Solitude, seems like a good plan, and opponent graveyard's Force of Negation. I definitely did not expect Force of Negation in their deck, very weird. And I go for Endurance, try to block Solitude, but last card in my opponent's hand is another Solitude, so they actually get my Endurance here and go in for 3. Okay, so now there is 7 cards in exile, and my Ketramos is now a 4/4 lifelink, menace indestructible. Huge problem for opponent. They can't attack and they're just in a terrible situation right now. Okay, so I find Omnath from the top again, first, let's go attack and gain 4. Play Omnath. Omnath also blocks them pretty well here. Okay, so here we are. Omnath still blocking my opponent creatures very well, and I untap, go for fetch, gain mana, and I have a lot of options here. So I go for Zenith, and yeah, so I really like this thing. So you can go for a Zenith when you have once you have Ketramos on the field, find a Keen-Eyed Curator or even like Scavenging Ooze, and then just start paying mana and drawing infinite cards basically. Okay, so my Ketramos is already active here, and I'm just using my mana and drawing cards. I decide to go for Renin 6, get another land from the yard, and I can choose to eat another card with a Curator or use the Leyline Binding, whatever. So I have options, and I just eat another card and draw another one, pass the turn, attack with Ketramos. I still have Omnath here blocking, 2 Omnath in hand, and yeah, I go in for 4, and now I realize my opponent is actually playing Goryo's. Okay, so they go for Phlage and find Ephemerate. Ephemerate can do good things here, but it's still not quite enough. And they go Ephemerate, Solitude. My hand is just full of good cards here. So they exile my Ketramos, but I have another one, and I have another Omnath, and I have a Keen-Eyed Curator on the field, so I can just draw a bunch of cards again and again. Okay, so here I go for fetch land, get mana with Omnath again, play my Ketramos, and again I can use 3 mana with Curator, exile all yards, and just draw more cards, and there's just nothing my opponent can do at this point. Okay, I'm drawing more, and just my Curator can grow to 7/7 potentially. If I have 4 card types with it, and I go for Overlord, I go for Impending Cost, and that way I can fill my yard and just continue using Keen-Eyed Curator and leave stuff I need there. Okay, so my opponent goes for Ephemerate. I holded my mana to exile, binding the creature they try to Ephemerate, and I'm holding 1 mana for Curator if they try to go for Goryo's on their turn. Okay, my opponent only plays a Psychic Frog, so and concedes, so that was game 1. Okay, so here, game 2, what I want here is Endurance in main. That is what I want most. I was considering Elesh Norn, Mother of Machines, but decided against it, and I went with 2 consigns, just trimmed 1 Phlage. Phlage doesn't do much, but I still liked having 1 in the grindy games. Trim 1 Overlord, trim 1 Omnath, and that's basically it, so yeah. Okay, so a lot of graveyard hate now in creatures, and we also have Zenith. And there's a consign to memory which can be very useful against their plan. It can counter the attacks IETB, Emperor of the Bones, a triggered ability. A lot of options really. Okay, so here we are going for a fetch here. Opponent plays a Psychic Frog. I go for a Surveil and put Green Suns in it to the yard. Okay, so now I can go, I try to dig for Solitude. So digging for Solitude, going for Overlord, and I exile their Frog. At this point I don't have green spell to pitch cast my Endurance, but it was not needed. Opponent goes for Phlage, and they didn't have Goryo's target at this point. Okay, so I shock in the Breeding Pool, so I have mana for my consign to memory, and Overlord is losing the counters, going toward, and once it will become a huge threat for them, I just have to stay in game long enough until my Overlord loses all counters. I have consign backup, so I decide to go for Renin 6, but my opponent has a Celestial Purge. Good way to get rid of my Overlord. Okay, so Okay, so Vren on the field, I have consigned to memory. My opponent continues attacking with Phlage Archaeologist, and yeah, so I'm now also holding Endurance plus consigned to memory. Okay, opponent continues attacking with Phlage, no need to rush anything, just passing the turn. Here I have Green Sun Zenith now. I can potentially go for Keen-Eyed Curator or Scavenging Ooze, whatever, make myself secure, but I still have Endurance plus consigned to memory. I decide to hold it for one more turn, and opponent continues attacking. Don't attack me, doesn't attack me at Vren, but me. No Vren. Okay, so I go for a surveil here. My opponent taps out, and I plus my Vren 6, and now I can also just go for Solitude and still hold a consign to memory. And they only have 2 mana, so despite here my opponent discarding Atraxa, they still need to have a land plus Ephemerate for my consign to not really work on them. So I was able to put Solitude on the field. Solitude can potentially start attacking as well. And yeah, here I now also have a Green Sun Zenith. I'm gaining some life with Solitude attacks. I go for a Zenith X2. So I'm looking to find Keen-Eyed Curator. My opponent fetches, surveils, puts another Atraxa in the yard, and Force of Negations my Green Sun Zenith. Okay, I still have Consign plus Endurance. I think I'm still pretty good here. Opponent tries to attack first. I have Dryad Arbor to jump, so I jump with Dryad Arbor here. And my opponent decides to take my Vren 6 before I can ulti. So yeah, they were able to take care of that, and now I have some options. My opponent is really completely tapped out at the moment. No lot answers to Omnath. Okay, so I go for a draw bunch of lands here. I gain some life, attack with Solitude, and I'm still holding 3 mana for Endurance plus Consign to Memory. So still entire game holding 2 same cards, try to win with those. Okay, so yeah, I'm passing the turn, 7 cards, really secure against their aggro plan at the moment only, and holding Endurance plus Consign to Memory. So doing pretty good. Opponent goes for Ephemerate, that gives them 2 cards. They go for Tainted Indulgence, and Ephemerate finds Totsis. So I don't have a choice here. Once they go Totsis, I have to go Endurance in response. If they try to Gorios, I still have Consign, so I'm good. And opponent now, of course, takes my Consign, looks at my hand, sees all lands, and yeah, at least I removed Atraxas from their graveyard. So they don't have a Gorios target at the moment. They go for Tainted Indulgence and find Ulamog the Defiler. That is definitely a problem. Okay, so I go for a Halfling, play a land, gain some life, attack them for a lot of damage. So now they are down on... they would be down on a 3, but they have Solitude, so to take my Omnath, so they lose only 6, go down to 7. And they go Emperor of the Bones on their turn, exile Ulamog, attack with Ulamog. Ulamog forces me to sacrifice almost everything I have. Sacrifice most of my permanents, I'm left with 2 lands. And opponent still has a 4/4 attacker with Emperor and finds another Emperor, which lets them find a lethal on the next turn. So that was it. Okay, so opponent goes for Solitude and was able to finish things up here. Same sideboard, no changes. I continue similar as before. Okay, so I have a decent hand. Here I have Endurance, I have Bindings for their frogs, Solitude, and Endurance is great to take care of their graveyard instant speed. I return another Endurance to my hand. This all seems good. Phlage puts Ulamog in the graveyard, so now I have options. I can go for... I decide to go for Endurance immediately. I have another one in hand. I have Solitude Binding to try to deal with that Traxa if they go for that again. And my opponent goes for another Phlage this time. Doesn't get... gets a counter, but that's even worse for me at this point. I just wanted to start attacking here. So I really wanted to remove a creature. Binding their one for a Phlage and just start attacking. Okay, so opponent goes for Ephemerate and I decide to go for another Binding. Okay, so I have 5 lands, Solitude plus Endurance open, continue attacking with Endurance, go for a Surveil. I decide to keep Prismatic Ending on top. It's a decent card. I can pitch cast it to Solitude if needed. My opponent goes for Phlage and again returns Tainted Indulgence to their hand. Now I also have Overlord here, which is pretty decent. I have some options. My opponent jumps with Phlage and now I have options. I can go Hardcast Overlord, I can Impending the Overlord. And if I hardcast Overlord, I have a kill lethal on board next turn and I have a free interaction with both Endurance and Solitude. That seems like pretty good for me and I decide to just go for that, go for Overlord. Overlord attacks next turn, provides great advantage and I have like a free interaction here both with Solitude and Endurance and I go Endurance actually on my turn. They have a full board, plenty of threats. If they have double Gorios that could potentially escape my Endurance, so I decide to go for Endurance immediately on my turn. Opponent plays Phlage and returns Ephemerate to their hand with Phlage ability. Then Solitudes my Overlord of the Balemurk. I gain life, lose Overlord, but here they try to Ephemerate the Solitude and I have luckily Solitude of my own. My opponent does gain some life, but there I still have a good clock here with Endurance and they don't have any targets in the graveyard for their Gorios, so I continue attacking here, put them down on 5, or Phlage puts them down on 2, so next turn, even without attacking, I can escape Phlage and finish things off, and my opponent concedes, so that was a 3-0. Okay, so let's go to the next match. Okay, so next match was really a long one. I played against a blue-white Miracle Control. And as you can see here, game 1, I decide to keep a one lander, but with a lot of let's say mana dorks, 3 Zeniths. First one can find a Dread Arbor, then second can go for Halfling, and so on and so on. So I decide to take a little risk here and keep one lander. Collector Ouphe was just really useless this entire league. I included it in the main. I was thinking I could probably run into some Mox Opal decks, but I did not run into any. Collector Ouphe was just completely dead entire league. I think it's a sideboard card anyway. I don't want it in the main. This was my first league with the deck, so I just wanted to try Collector Ouphe in the main, but definitely was super useless and didn't do anything. Was always first card to side out. And okay, so I keep a one lander here. Definitely didn't pay off. My opponent had removal, had a counter for the Zenith, removal for for my dork, and I use another Zenith to go for Dryad Arbor, but that's not good enough since I can still play anything without land, can play Vren, can only go for Ouphe, and which is not great at this point. So I already started falling behind a lot. My opponent actually lets me here find the basic I need, but it was really slow, so they were able to find stuff they need. Okay, so I have some options here, but yeah. My opponent has Narset on the field. I can't really kill it here. Can't escape Phlage. I can only play one of my threats here, and they have an engine there going on, so not a greatest situation for me. I decide to resolve my Ketramos here, but opponent has immediately Terminus from the top of their deck. I think this was a random Terminus. So random Terminus from the top finds a card with Narset, plays another Narset, Teferi on the field, a lot of stuff there. Okay, so they actually bounce my Leyline Binding. Okay, so I can now potentially escape Phlage or find. I can't really escape Phlage, but I'm close to it, so I'm thinking about going for a black source or a blue source or a surveillant. I decide to go for a surveil here to help me cast Phlage next turn. I play the Leyline Binding, take the Narset again, play Collector Ouphe. I was expecting them to kill Ouphe to save their Teferi, but they did have Orim Chant against with Kicker. I can't attack, can't do much here. And so opponent gets to play another Narset. It's really a painful, slow game, and I can't really do much, and it's basically game over. But I have a lot of stuff here, so I decide to go for Prismatic Ending, fill my yard for Phlage. Opponent counters the ending, and opponent also counters the Phlage, so they really countered everything I have. Let's just fast forward to this. I concede, and let's see the sideboarding plan here. I don't have much against them. I think I only want Boseiju to probably kill their whole or their other land that works great with Narset. I don't think I want anything else here, so just a Collector Ouphe out for Boseiju, and that's it. For this matchup, I don't have anything else, just trying to rely on the strength of my mid-range plan and just outgrind them. Okay, I go for a Vren 6. Unfortunately, they have Spell Snare. Vren 6 is pretty solid against them, but I have Overlord. Overlord is also great. It's hard for them to time the Terminus well in a way that it hits creatures on the field, but also Overlord. After the turn, it loses all the counters. Okay, so I go for a Vren 6 and kill their stuff, kill the Narset with Phlage. I have a Prismatic Ending, I have a Leyline Binding, and it's really a good position for me at this point. Vren 6 and Overlord of the Balemurk are definitely threats I want to have resolved like this. Vren 6 providing value, bringing back lands, and Overlord of the Balemurk becoming a very strong threat if they can't deal with it on time. Okay, so I have Dryad Arbor. Dryad Arbor is also big here. A lot of situations. My opponent is struggling to deal with Dryad Arbor because they terminus it, and then I just fetch it back to play again. I can't play spells here because of the Orim Chant. I can just plus my Vren 6 attack with Dryad Arbor. That's it. Okay, so opponent goes for the Brain Surge. In a situation like this, it's always hard to fill the board with threats when you're expecting they just have a Terminus on the board. They were obviously just waiting for a turn. Overlord becomes a creature, so there was no point in playing other creatures. I can't play anything instant speed because of the Teferi plus Orim Chan combo. They have a Jace here, they go plus, and Sorry, they go for 0, and now I can use, for example, I can do a lot of stuff actually. So I have Omnath plus Phlage, and that seems very good here. So I decide to go Omnath, play fetch, crack a fetch, play Phlage from the yard, escape it, kill Jace, and I still have a Leyline Binding and Prismatic Ending. So, but my opponent goes Solitude in response, so I have to change my plan. I go binding the Jace, and then probably just best to play the Halfling here or whatever. I go for a Keen-Eyed Curator. Curator can attack next turn, make Teferi, kill a Teferi. Opponent goes for Harbinger of the Seas, and this means I have to pitch cast a Solitude to get rid of it, but the good thing is my opponent is tapped a lot, so only 2 mana open, and they go for... they can't really use a pet to exile, so they go for March, exile pet from their hand. That is good for me, but here I have to go pitch cast a Solitude, get rid of the Harbinger, and now I can do basically whatever I want. I take Boseiju to my hand to get rid of the whole of Storm Giants if necessary. I can now go for Green Sun Zenith, find Omnath if I want, but I decide only thing I want to do here is go for Halfling and take their whole with Boseiju, pass the turn. Okay, so Phlage on the field, it's really a good clock. They have to have response for it. They have a Solitude here, that's really good for them. And now I have 2 Zenith in my hand, so I can just go for Zenith, find Omnath. Omnath is a threat they need to get rid of. And now I also find Scavenging Goose. All of this is risky, of course, because they can just terminus me, but I have to do something. I have to present some pressure on the field. And Vren is now on 9, and I can do possibly a lot of damage here. So I go for a third Omnath ability, kill their Jace with it, put them 4 down, take the Solitude and attack with everything, pump my ooze a bit, attack them down to 4, and I have Vren 6 with 9 counters, and now they were able to or enchant me, and I take some of their cards with ooze, they or enchant me again. Unfortunately, I can't play my Ketramos, and I didn't want them to use Narset again, so I pinged, at least I wanted to try to ping Narset down to that, but they have Days Undoing, unfortunately drawing a lot of cards, and one of those cards was Or Enchant there, which enabled them to survive a turn. I probably should have taken more chance with Scavenging Goose while I had open mana. Okay, so I decide to finally kill. I decide to start pinging face, and opponent fetches down to 2, and they did not find a solution for my board, no terminus for them, so my opponent conceded, and it was time to play last match. Last game of this match 4. Okay, so I had to mulligan this again. And then I had to mulligan this again, and I keep 5. So similar to game 1, again I had to keep 5, unfortunately for me, but it is what it is. It is a decent hand. Opponent goes for Orem-chan here, and I go for another Surveil. I have to put this in the yard, and another Orem-chan there meant I can't really play anything, so I just went for a Surveil, pass the turn, opponent goes Teferi, and I have some options here. I can try to resolve Ketramos or just take their Teferi. I have some options. I decide to go for Indata and binding Teferi on turn when they just plussed it. And okay, so okay, so opponent was thinking, and in the end decides to just Field of Ruin me. Now nothing changes for me. I can still, a very good turn for me here. I can go Vren 6, and get back a land, impending the Overlord, bring back Omnath. Amazing, amazing turn for me. Again, I'm in a great position, similar to where I was in game 2. Vren and Overlord on the field. I have good cards in hand. I play the Omnath, get life, play the Phlage, but they pet to exile me. In response, I get another Omnath trigger. They lose 4. All in all, not a bad situation for me, but my opponent finds Terminus from the top. I think this was a random, completely random Terminus from the top. Okay, so opponent, I go for I plus my Vren again. I have Green Sun Zenith in the yard and Prismatic Ending, so ulti from Vren would be great here. I decide now I have to make my Ketramos resolve, so I just played my Halfling. Next turn, saving it to either escape Phlage or cast Ketramos from hand. Vren is upticking Overlord. They will be forced to deal with my board soon. Now Phlage is in the yard. They are down on 10 life, and it's looking like a great situation for me here. My opponent plays Teferi, bounces my Halfling. I'm still pretty good here. I go for Dryad Arbor end of turn. I go for a Dryad Arbor end of turn, and I can now attack Teferi with Arbor. I can attack face. I have a lot of options how to kill Teferi. I uptick Vren up to 7 counters, and my Overlord is also close to becoming a creature. Here I decide to go for Omnath. Opponent only has 2 cards in hand, plays counterspell, counters my Vren 6. Maybe that was a mistake though. Maybe I should have waited with Omnath and just used the Halfling mana. That was possibly, yeah, a big mistake there. But I have Ketramos on the field, I have Phlage in the yard. My situation was so good here, but it turned around. Things turned around definitely. First, my opponent finds Jace. And yeah, I now have Scavenging Ooze plus Ketramos. And now I can definitely draw cards here. It's only 2 cards though, because I wanted to attack Jace with Dryad Arbor and Halfling. Maybe it was better for me here to just draw 4 cards with Ketramos, pass the turn, and let Jace live. I wanted to kill it, and yeah. Okay, so now my Overlord is a creature as well. And I have really a lot of creatures right now. And yeah, my opponent find a Jace next turn, and they also find Terminus. I think they did not have Terminus from before. My opponent last card in hand was Days Undoing there. So pretty good hand from opponent to get out of hard situation. And so I go for Omnath here, fetch, gain some life, play Ketramos, uptick Vren 6 on to 7, but now I don't have a graveyard anymore. My opponent had a Spell Snare for my Scavenging Ooze. Unfortunately, Ooze would potentially draw me a bunch of cards with Ketramos on the field, of course. Opponent now goes for Narset. Narset, obviously, it's not great for me, preventing me from drawing cards. Okay, so opponent finds Terminus. I know they have Terminus in hand. They have 6 mana, so they can hardcast Terminus next turn. So I don't have any more creatures on the field, but still I can't overcome it. Okay, my Vren is on 7. I have a lot of creatures on the field. Try to attack 9. It's exactly lethal. So I have some options. I can try attack for lethal or whatever. Okay, opponent goes for March my Ketramos. I don't have a lethal anymore, but I can choose to attack either Narset or them face. I decide to go for Narset, put them down on 8. I have all the basics. I decide don't have anything in the yard, so I decide just to target them with Vren 6 ability. And here I F6'd. I just thought there was nothing serious they could do here. I completely forgot they're playing a Harbinger of the Seas, so I just yielded until end of turn. As you can see here, the yellow dot means yield until end of turn. I yielded, and they went like Jace and Brainstorm ability, and then played Harbinger of the Seas. All I needed to do here was take like white mana and let them resolve Harbinger, Solitude the Harbinger, and basically it would be game over. I have a fetch here, which means I would play another fetch, get 2 lands, kill Jace for free, deal 4 them to face, and then attack with Solitude and Delighted Halfling plus Vren ability for ping. This should have ended here. So yeah, this should have ended here, but I was yielded end of turn until end of turn, and unfortunately now I lost a way here to kill their Harbinger, and my opponent goes Pet to Exile. In my upkeep takes my Omnath, and I think I still failed here. I should have played Vren and double pinged the Harbinger. Just at this point, both players, we were both low on time, and I didn't have much. Much time to think, and I also wanted to get rid of Jace, so I used my Vren to ping Jace and Solitude to kill the Harbinger. But all in all, I should have just take the mana, end of turn, Solitude the Harbinger, and it would be basically game over. I don't think they would have a chance to recover from that. If I would not have lethal, I would still be able to just kill Jace with a Solitude attack, and nothing else would matter really much. So okay, so here I recover again. I'm still good here, going for Vren 6, returning my lands they killed with Field of Ruins, continue attacking them. Ketramos is also now attacker. Opponent is only on 2 cards right now, but they find Brain Surge, obviously great card in this situation. I keep Prismatic Ending on top, but my opponent has Teferi plus Teferi, use Monumental Henge, and or enchantment. I can't do much on my turn, and they bought themselves a turn until they were able to find both Jace and Teferi from the top of their deck, which made a situation for me a lot harder. Still, I was good. I had a lot of things going on here. I tried to go for a Prismatic Ending first, try to take the Jace. Yeah, the most unfortunate thing about all of this was just missing that lethal here on the turn when they play the Harbinger. And okay, so here at least I was able to take their Teferi. I still have Ketramos on the field, which is able to attack, so they have to use either Teferi or Jace for it. And okay, so pretty good hand by my opponent there. They had double counterspell in that situation, which was really a crucial situation. And as you can see here now, both players are really low on life, and there's just no way for opponents to kill me. I'm on 22 life, they have like 40 seconds left. And there's just usually this would be a draw. Like in paper, this game is already lasting like 15 minutes, maybe even more. And my opponent resolves a second Harbinger here. I don't have any plays here, but I can go for attack, kill Teferi, small Teferi again. I have all mana I need except for black mana, so can't play Ketramos. But I go for a kill the fairy at least, and plus the Vren 6, they can kill it with the Harbinger attack. And okay, so there are also some spells I can draw here, and Green Sun Zenith is definitely one of them. Okay, so my opponent is like 3 seconds on clock now. There's just no point playing anything. They can't do anything. I can just pass the turn. They lose. I have significantly more time than them. And that's it. I pass the turn here. My opponent rages in chat. But yeah, whatever. Okay, so that was it. And let's go check out the game 4. Okay, so game 4, unfortunately I didn't record from the beginning, but this was kind of end of game 1. Game 1, it was a fun game. Overlords were really good here. Such a strong threat against when playing against Dimir. And yeah, at this point I stabilized here. My opponent only one card in hand. I have double Omnath. This was game 1. I think they did not have Harbingers in the main board, so there was no need for me to okay, so I go for Omnath first. I don't really care if they counter it. I have a second one in hand, so I'm comfortable just taking their counter spell on Omnath, playing the Halfling, and just securing that next turn my Omnath will resolve, putting my opponent in a really bad situation. The best thing they can have here is Murktide maybe, but I have Omnath uncounterable, which is hopefully gaining me some life here, getting me out of the Murktide kill range. And okay, so now I have uncounterable Omnath, drawing a card and playing Heat, gaining life. I can gain more life on their turn if needed. Now I have Overlord hardcast. In many situations like this means just a game over. Also, I milled over 2 Phlages with Overlord ability, so I was able to immediately get mana from Omnath and escape Phlage, which was just insane. And at this point, Omnath on the field, Overlord on the field, Solitude in hand, and escaped Phlage, and another one escaped, which I can escape next turn, even if they exile or whatever on this one. So it's game over. It's definitely game over, and I would say the Dimir Frog feels like a pretty good matchup for this deck. Solitude lets you deal with Harbinger pretty easily. Overlord helps you find Solitudes, Bindings, Endings, deal with Frog, and Solitude Binding is also great against Murktide, obviously. Endurance, Hates on their graveyard, a lot of grind with Overlords and the Omnaths and Ketramoses and Phlages. Scavenging Goose and Kina Curator also good against them. In mainboard and postboard, you could see my sideboarding plan here. Okay, so I keep very medium hand on game 2 here, just a Halfling and a Phlage, but I think this is fine against this deck. It actually just feels as a pretty solid matchup. Okay, so opponent goes for a Thoughtseize, takes only card they can from my hand, Halfling. And but I'm good here, so I want to get my basics. I just decide to fetch my basics on time. This is a post-board game, so they are playing Harbinger. I need to be careful about that. I go for a breeding pool here, even though my it doesn't work with Phlage, but I have to be mindful of actually resolving my having mana to play my Omnath as well. You can see here opponent going for a Harbinger, but I played against I played around them having a Harbinger, so I have my basics. I have a Leyline to take them. Also, Phlaging their Harbinger would be pretty good as well. Okay, so I have plenty of options here. I think best one was to go for Omnath. I kind of suspected them having subtlety, but I wanted them to play subtlety so I can just play the Phlage on subtlety. And even with endurance in my hand, it felt even better to just go for endurance on their turn, try to block. They're probably going to have deal with this endurance. They don't really want me to let me block their subtlety with endurance for free. So I resolve the endurance. Opponent has dismembered. That's great news for me. I go down on 12. Plenty of options here. I decide to this turn just go Phlage from my hand, not to risk them having counterspell for my escaped Phlage, and I go Scavenging Ooze this turn, put a threat on the field, but they have Spell Snare, so yeah. Okay, so I wanted to give them some material for counterspell. It seems like they didn't have it anyway, so it seemed like they don't have counterspell at this point. They let me resolve my Omnath, or maybe they did have it and had Fatal Push in hand, so they were counting on dealing with Omnath with Fatal Push. That's fine. Okay, so I untap, have another Omnath from the top. I can continue attacking with Omnath and now try to resolve my Overlord. Since they didn't use counterspell last turn, I thought it's probably like a good situation. Try to resolve Overlord. If I resolve the Overlord, it's game over. Like definitely, but they actually did have counterspell, so probably saving it for something else and having push in hand to deal with Omnath. That was fine by me. I have another Omnath in hand, Ketramos in hand, Phlage in the yard. So it's such a really good situation overall. Everything on my side in this game, and no much chances for opponent, despite me starting with a really medium hand. Okay, opponent did finally kill my Omnath with Fatal Push. I go for Omnath, another Omnath from my hand here. Again, resolve it, get the draw, and I have options. I draw a fetch from the top. This means I can go for Phlage on this same turn. That is truly amazing. So going for Phlage here means it's like a guaranteed game over. It's really hard for them to be able to deal with all of this. They bounce my Phlage and then surgical Phlage, but they don't have solution for Omnath, so that's it. I get the trophy here. Got the win. Unfortunately, I didn't record match 1 of this league, and it was really fun game. I think I played against Energy, and I really crushed it. And yeah, really unfortunate I didn't record that one. And the game I won against Miracles should be draw actually if it was in paper. Here on MTGO I got the win because I had more seconds, a few seconds more time than opponent, and I got the trophy. But I think the Miracle matchup is not the greatest. Deck can definitely win, but it's a hard grind, and if they make control with Narset Days Undoing or Orange Chant you many times, they can definitely find a win with Jace plus Terminus and then Big Teferi, stuff like that. But yeah, it was a great league. Really sorry I don't have that. That I don't have that match 1 recorded, but it is what it is. It was still a great trophy league. As I said, after this league I would put Collector Ouphe to sideboard, bring in probably Stomping Ground to the main board, and that is it. Okay, so no changes for now. What you want to remove for Collector Ouphe, there are definitely options. I don't know, many options like maybe like Knight of Autumn or Boseiju or one Force of Vigor or one Pyroclasm. There are definitely a lot of options, and I think I would remove anything except for the Endurances. I think Endurance is pretty good, findable with Overlord. Also, there is a new addition behind the corner. I think that addition will have good cards for this deck. The 3 mana Hate Bear, Wild Hate Bear, that hates on artifacts, planeswalkers. It will be pretty good in this matchup. Stops the Narset, Teferi, Jace, Big Teferi. They really have to deal with it immediately. And it's really useful against a lot of other decks, so that's a good sideboard piece, and plenty of other cards to try out in this deck after the Tarkir release. I think I really like this Black Splash in 4-color Ronald, now making it 5-color. Overlord is such a strong mid-range engine. Kind of Overlord and Ketramos are replacement for the One Ring, the role the One Ring served before in this deck, or the Risen Reef. I think Overlord of the Balemurk is like the best engine for mid-range decks right now, and not playing Overlord of the Balemurk in this deck right now feels like a mistake. I think if you don't play it, I think other decks can easily outgrind you. So if you're trying to win the mid-range wars, I think it's best to do it with Overlord of the Balemurk in the main. I don't think the way to actually scam it into play is necessary. I think it's just good like this. No Flicker Wisps needed in this version, in my opinion. It's just doing a great job. Even playing it for 5, we have Halflings, we have Zenith to ramp into it, and playing it for 2 is just perfect, and waiting 5 turns. This deck is built around just prolonging game long enough until Overlord starts attacking and becoming a creature. Okay, so that's it. Obviously, some problems for the deck. I think it's very well positioned against a large portion of the metagame, but as it was bad before against Eldrazi, and probably against Miracles, but it's good against almost everything else. I don't see another important bad matchup for this deck, so I think it's okay to have a bad matchup. We can build to having a slightly better Eldrazi matchup in future. I think it's okay to have one bad matchup depending on how big will Eldrazi be. I'm suspecting very big, but still worth considering this deck, worth playing. And if you had fun with 4-color Omnaths before, I definitely recommend trying this version. I think Overlord of the Balemurk is a great fit. Scavenging Ooze and Keen-Eyed Curators are great hate pieces in the main, relevant against many decks, but also work so well with Ketramos post board. And yeah, I'm really impressed with it. And there are some cards in the Tarkir which are also Green Sun Zenith tutorable, and definitely worth considering. Okay, so yeah, maybe I will maybe have some changes for it after the Tarkir release when I play with new cards, but for now that's it. Okay, so thank you for watching. That's all for now, and goodbye. A friendly reminder for the end to click like, comment and subscribe. Okay, thank you, goodbye.